During week 232 of Brada's Branded Thoughts, a sit down with future Iowa tight end Michael Burt, who recently signed on to be a member of the Black and Gold. A really fun kid to talk to. He's from Omaha, from Creighton Prep down in Omaha, and he's got some physical traits you can't teach. Great attitude, great head on his shoulders. He'll talk with us about his future as a Hawkeye. Plus, I'll give you my 2 cents on the Iowa Swarm and how much impact it's had on some of the recent roster news and these players returning. How big is this for the future? We'll discuss it during week 232 of Brada's Branded Thoughts. But first, I want to give a shout out to Iowa Floor Covering down in Bondurant. Take a look at their beautiful business right in the heart of central Iowa in the metro area. Iowa Floor Covering. If you have a flooring project, perhaps in the works, maybe it's a DIY project, give Iowa Floor Covering a call, 515-379-7000. You can also check out their Tough Core Click Together waterproof vinyl flooring over at iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. I want to tell you this, folks, that Ryan, Tyler, and the guys are Hawkeye fans, and they are looking forward to serving you. Or maybe it's even a bathroom project. You have a tile shower that's in the works. Give them a call, 515-379-7000, or visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com. So what a start to January it's been. It started off with a weird performance against Tennessee for the Iowa football team, a game in which Iowa was shut out. Basically, you could argue that the 3 best teams Iowa faced this year, they were destroyed by. Tennessee, Penn State, Michigan. Those 3 teams beat Iowa by a combined score of 92-0. That is stark. That is incredible. That is pathetic. All of those things wrapped up into one. And yet Iowa, since then, has gotten good news after good news after good news. Now, the one blow that we received here a few days ago, Iowa DB Cooper DeJean did decide to declare for the NFL draft. And I can tell you this, folks, on good authority, this was a very hard decision for Cooper, a decision that agonized Cooper. And, frankly, there's so much money on the table. And I'm not saying it's strictly a matter of money, but Cooper bleeds black and gold. And he's got an opportunity to be a first-round draft pick this next year, this next draft class. And returning, there'd obviously be some risk. The injury risk, the possibility of falling down on the draft board in 2025, all those things are question marks. So I can understand why Cooper DeJean would make the decision that he made. But it is a blow, and Iowa's defensive backfield will take some time, will need some time to recover. There's no replacing the production that Cooper gave you in really 3 different facets, not counting leadership, but talking about his play as a cornerback, his play as a gunner on special teams, and his play as a punt returner. He was phenomenal in all 3 phases. So who steps in as the next defensive back? Is it Deshaun Lee? Is it TJ Hall? Is it a younger guy like Devin Hilson or even John Nestor? That's a possibility. But the good news is Iowa's gotten a ton of returnee announcements this week and really last week. You're talking about the likes of Sebastion Castro, Luke Lachey at tight end. What a year he had going before he went down with a serious leg injury against Western Michigan. We got news that Jay Higgins, a guy who led the Big Ten in tackles, would be returning. We didn't think we had a shot at Nick Jackson back. He's coming back to Iowa. Has a chance at being the NCAA's all-time leading tackler, because this will be year number 6 due to the COVID year and what happened at the Virginia campus with the shooting a little over a year ago. So just a lot happening. Iowa getting all these guys back, and then we just got word that Quinn Schulte would be coming back as well. So I don't know where the news stops. It's all really good news, and whenever you can bring back experience to this level. Last year they were able to bring back Noah Shannon, who didn't play this year due to the gambling stuff, Joe Evans. I mean, they had some great pieces last year, but they basically doubled up as it relates to numbers for guys that a lot of people expected to leave for the NFL that ended up announcing that they would be returning to Iowa. Now, Eric Hall is leaving. That's been well publicized. Logan Lee is leaving. Iowa's over the scholarship limit right now, so they're going to have to figure out those numbers. People are likely to leave. People are going to have to leave. With this transfer portal window now closed, most of the movement will probably happen after spring ball, but there are not enough scholarships to go around. And that's a good problem to have if you're Iowa, because, again, you just can't say no to the production that Iowa has gotten back. So what's been behind the surge in 5th and 6th year seniors at Iowa in a world of college football where a lot of guys will just jump in the portal and look for a high dollar figure somewhere else in college football, or jump to the NFL if they have any level of a draft stock? Well, really, we need to look at two huge factors here. And that's, first of all, the obvious. That's the coaching staff. I think Kirk Ferentz has received a lot of well-deserved heat for his handling of the Brian Ferentz situation in the offensive coordinator role, and the offense as a whole. As the head coach, he deserves that. He's also been praised because this team, his program, has won a lot of games in spite of poor offensive play. But the bottom line is, one of the most masterful ways Kirk Ferentz demonstrates himself being the dean of college football and a future Hall of Famer is by his ability of retaining players, keeping players locked in, keeping players focused, really developing a relationship with these players where they feel like they're part of a family. And yes, there has been controversy in the past. The 2020 stuff was difficult to go through. I'm sure Kirk Ferentz would admit that was a learning experience for him. But in general, I think it's pretty clear that his players enjoy playing for him. I think it's pretty clear that Phil Parker's players enjoy playing for him. Seth Wallace's players like to play for him, especially with regards to the defensive staff. I think there's no question about it that they've got a great staff in place. Will they be able to keep everybody in place for the next 2 to 3 years? Maybe the length of Kirk Ferentz's time at Iowa? We'll see. But you've got to give credit to Kirk Ferentz primarily and then that staff. But the other half that we can't forget, folks, is the Swarm. The Iowa Swarm, the NIL collective. And remember, this collective benefits athletes for football, women's basketball, and men's basketball. But I can tell you with authority, without going into specifics, that all of these players coming back, a big part of that was the role of the collective. And I'm by no means trying to imply that these players strictly came back for the money, for the dollar sign, so to speak. But I can tell you this with pretty good confidence, that if the collective was not where it is today, and it still has room to grow, it's still got work to do, but if it was not where it is today, I don't think Iowa would probably get half of these guys that they're getting back. I did have a conversation with Brad Heinrich, CEO of the Iowa Swarm, prior to recording the show, and he shared a couple of very important things with me. First of all, he made a point of praising Iowa athletics, specifically since Beth Goetz took over as the interim AD. The Swarm is now being verbally recognized by Iowa as an integral part of Iowa athletics, and that's huge. That's a huge step forward from what I believe to be a cold shoulder from the previous administration with Gary Brada and company. And so Beth Goetz has been a big part of the two-way relationship that is the NIL initiative and Iowa. The other part of this is Kirk Ferentz, in spite of his age and his reputation for kind of being stubborn with certain things, especially on the football field, he has been willing to give the Swarm its due, promote the Swarm. I think there's still a need for more of that promotion, that verbal recognition. You'd love to be able to see Iowa advocate more for the Swarm on a game in, game out basis, but they have done a lot better as it relates to verbalizing their appreciation for this initiative. And social media has been a driving force for this as well. Again, there's still a need to drive more members to the Iowa Swarm, get more donors on board. But Kirk has shown a willingness to work with the Swarm and an acceptance, too, that, hey, if we're going to want to get our best players, our oldest and best players back for an extra year when they could go elsewhere, we've got to utilize what we have. And that's an initiative with the Iowa Swarm, along with a bunch of Hawkeye fans who are donating to the cause that is playing a huge role in this. I can tell you that of the 2,700 donating Swarm members, only 420 are football season ticket holders. So you still see the room for improvement there. Again, 2,700 donating Swarm members, only 420 are season ticket holders. That's kind of a startling number. And look, I get it. A lot of those season ticket holders are probably donating to the iClub, and they're donating to get their seats back year in and year out. But one thing that I thought was interesting that Brad noted to me is if every one of those season ticket holders donated just $100 per season, per seat, for the Swarm, all right, not just for the athletics department, the iClub, but for the Swarm would have several more $1 million to work with, and it would become an even bigger force in the NIL world. I think it's pretty clear that a lot of these guys who are returning, a factor was the NIL initiative. And yes, every scholarship player gets paid by the Swarm, but there's a separate part of this collective that provides incentives for players to come back in certain situations as it relates to extra community work or other obligations that involve partnerships with the Swarm. And that is a great thing for name, image, and likeness. And as Iowa fans, I think we have to applaud the unselfish perspective of not only the Iowa Swarm people, but of Kirk Ferentz and company. What I mean by that is this, there doesn't seem to me to be any concern about taking the credit for getting guys to come back. Like, it's been pretty clear on social media. A lot of people praising the Swarm, praising Brad Heinrichs, praising Kirk Ferentz, praising the Iowa coaching staff, Seth Wallace, Phil Parker. And the best thing that each party can do is just stand back, give a handshake to the other side and say, thank you very much, because this is what a partnership is all about. This cannot work unless everybody's on the same page and everybody's on board. And that's part of the problem. I believe that's part of the problem why they were having some serious NIL issues during the Brada era. No, Kirk Ferentz probably doesn't love the idea of NIL. I think that's pretty clear. I'm sure he'd be fine with guys making money off their name, image, and likeness. But with what it's turned into, I understand his perspective. But he's been willing to work with a very eager group of people over at the Swarm, led by CEO Brad Heinrichs. And the more unselfishness that those two parties can show toward each other, the healthier this program stays through the latter part of Kirk Ferentz's tenure. So congratulations to all these players who have come back. Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz, to Brad Heinrichs, to the staff, to the Swarm, all parties involved, because their hard work combined has created a great problem as it relates to scholarship numbers heading into spring practice. All right, folks, I promised an interview with future Iowa tight end Michael Burt. Michael signed with the Hawkeyes this past December. He joins me after this. You're watching week 232 of Brada's Branded Thoughts right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Straight from the man cave Kinnick under the kitchen, authentic, original player artwork is being drawn up for Hawkeye fans everywhere. Locally made prints of stars wearing the black and gold from the past, present, and future. How about current Hawkeye superstars Cooper DeJean and Torrey Taylor, legends of the past like Jack Campbell, Spencer Lee, and Tim Dwight, plus future phenoms like Aaron Graves. There are so many options available. They make great gifts, and your purchase benefits the Hawkeye athletes wearing the black and gold. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook or at Under the Kitchen's new website. That's underthekitchen.square.site. Again, that's underthekitchen.square.site. Check out Under the Kitchen today and get your authentic, original Hawkeye print. Michael Burt out of Omaha. Michael, welcome.
Thanks, Corey. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Michael?
Doing well. It's been an exciting day.
Yeah, talk about it. Talk about it. What's it like to officially be a Hawk?
It's an honor. It's a great feeling. Obviously, it's felt official this whole time, but to finally kind of get that label of officially being a Hawkeye, it's a good feeling, and kind of another reminder that time is ticking, and I'll be there soon. So it's truly a wonderful experience and very exciting.
I mean, if there's any place in the nation where you're going to go and play tight end, obviously Iowa's the place to go. Yeah. So what does that feel like to be able to, not only have you achieved your dream of playing Power 5 football, but you're going to tight end you as a tight end?
Yeah, no, it's like, it's also obviously great, but I just think all in all, if you throw out tight end you, I think it's a great fit, but that tight end you is something special as well. And it's definitely part of a reason why I'm going to Iowa. And I'm really happy that, the way they recruited me really felt like they really wanted me. And especially at a place like Iowa, who the best tight end school in the country, it's pretty special. And I'm just, I'm really locked in for this because tight end you can't really get any better than that.
So you're an Omaha kid, right? Creighton Prep.
Yep.
I have to ask this question because I was just over at a Creighton basketball game here a couple of weeks ago, and
against Iowa.
Against Iowa.
Were you at the game? Yeah.
Well, opportunity missed. We should have met at the game. But I'm just curious, Michael, what's it been like growing up in Husker land? Because I mean, there's a lot of Iowa fans in Council Bluffs and in Omaha, but have you grown up a Husker fan?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been a Husker fan my whole life. My whole family's kind of, Big Red, everything, and I've been that way as well. But when it came to recruiting, I couldn't really think like a fan. I had to think for myself, as a player, as a student. And Iowa won the race by far. So it wasn't even a question, really. Nothing bad against Nebraska, and I had a great visit there, and I think Rule will do good things. But I've certainly grown up Husker fan. It's changed a little bit, but Yeah, no, we've been Husker fans, but we're Hawkeyes now.
Were you wearing blue or gold at that game?
I was wearing white,
You were
but
wearing white. Okay.
white. Yeah, I didn't want to kind of. I was going for Iowa, but both my friends going with me, they're diehard Blue Jay fans. So I was like, you know what, I'll wear Iowa, or excuse me, I will wear white, but when I'm on the field playing against their favorite team, Nebraska, that's when I'll show the Hawkeye colors. So it's funny because like all my friends are huge Husker fans, everything, and it's a lot of trash talk, but it's hilarious, and they're supportive. But it's good stuff.
There are some, success stories. You think about what Minnesota has done recent time with the tight end position. They offered Nebraska's, despite some of their struggles on the field, they've produced some good tight ends. Was there ever any doubt that once you got that Iowa offer and you were able to kind of experience a visit to Iowa City, was there really any doubt, maybe even when the offensive coordinator change was made?
There wasn't really any doubt. In the summer for my recruiting process, I wanted to take it the right way, and I didn't want to rush anything. And so that way, I know that I'll be sure, kind of throughout up until today, up until June, and up until throughout my career. I took it the right way, and I took my time, even though it was somewhat quick. I didn't really need any more time, so there's not really any doubts. I was talking to some coaches from there when the offensive coordinator situation came about, and like the guys are still locked in. Like coaches make a difference, of course, but I just think the culture in that program is not going to change, or nothing's going to fall out or anything. So there was honestly zero doubt, and I'm happy where the situation will lead to.
Between you and Gavin Hoffman, I just marvel at this every single year. One of the more confounding things during Coach Ferentz's tenure to me has been the fact that there aren't more 4- and 5-star tight ends flocking to Iowa City. Right. When you see a graphic like you probably saw on Twitter, and I think it was from a recent NFL game, where like 3 of the top 4 receivers in the NFL, 3 of the top 4 tight ends and receiving yards in the NFL right now are all from Iowa. Like, why would you not want to go to Iowa, regardless if you need developed or not, quote unquote? Everybody needs developed, of course. But then I look at your tape, and I look at a guy like Gavin Hoffman. Addison Estringa is a perfect example. I saw that kid at a Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. He's a baseball commit. You watch him on tape, and I'm like, how is this kid ranked, like 1,182nd in the country? And like, there's no way that's accurate. He gets to Iowa City, and he's playing as a freshman. And, I'm not, of course, we don't know if Luke Lachey comes back next year, you're going to have a tremendous mentor available at your disposal. But like, Iowa's going to play the guy that's most ready, which is an indication to me that guys like Addison were just better than they were rated by these services. And I know Gavin's rated by many as a 4-star. You're rated by many as a high 3, but I think ultimately Iowa just knows how to evaluate that position better than almost any other school in the country. Obviously, I know you're gonna put the chips on yourself, so to speak, but can you talk about Gavin and the rest of the group that this program typically recruits to that position?
I think especially with this position, but with all positions, I just think Iowa just kind of throws the stars out the window, and they kind of base themselves on their own judgment. Like, they know, like, honestly, I don't think, and again, I was recruited by different schools, and different schools, showed love, but I don't think any other school knows what Iowa knows, especially about this position, especially about who they see has the most, upside, and who they can develop the best. And I think Iowa does that really well. Me and Gavin, we're close. We haven't met in person, actually, because I didn't go on the same visit as him, but we stay really close in social media. He's a hell of a player, and I think he and I are both 2 players that can really, really develop well in this program. And the great thing about Iowa is that, like, you play as a freshman or you don't play until a senior, you're going to have a shot at the next level no matter what. If you're good enough, of course. But regarding talent, I think if you're good enough and you don't play until your senior year, you can still be good enough. But I just think developmental wise, Iowa really, really has the edge on that, and that's large reason why I chose to be a Hawkeye. And I think Gavin and I will develop well in this program. And, I want to play, obviously, as soon as possible, but I also want to focus on developing. And when the time comes, I'll be ready no matter what. So, you look at Zach Ortworth, like, I don't know if a ton of people expect him to, get the minutes he got, and he made some big impact on the field. Unfortunately, Luke and Eric went down, and Addison had a couple games. But Zach's a freshman, and like he's still going to be developed throughout these next few years. But like he looked ready, even though he's a freshman. Like that's who I want to be. I want to be a guy who is going to focus on development throughout my years at Iowa, but I also just want to be that guy who's ready to play whenever I need to, and whenever that time comes, I'll be ready. But I think the development is top-notch at Iowa.
Well said. And Zach Ortworth's a great example of a young guy. I mean, I'm really high on Grant Leaper. Comes to Iowa as a gray shirt. Haven't seen him yet, and I think people are sleeping on him as well. But anyways, you and Gavin are certainly good examples of that, and opportunity will most certainly be knocking. And I mean, we haven't gotten any official announcements. Expect Eric All to move on, and if Luke Lachey comes back, I mean, yeah, he's going to be tight end one. But what a guy to learn from, because he is. If Eric's not, Luke is the next great NFL tight end. What do you make of the success in the NFL, what you're seeing out of Sam Laporta, out of TJ Hawkinson, out of George Kittle, out of Noah Fant? What's that like on the sidelines knowing you're about to play for this program?
It's super exciting knowing that they were in a very similar position as I am and what Gavin is in right now. High recruited, but not like national 5-star type of guy. But when you put yourself through Iowa, that it's super exciting knowing that George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Fant, Hawkinson, and a lot of others, like they were in similar positions. So to go through the same developmental program that they were at, and to just learn from them and to stay in touch with them, and I just think that's a huge thing, and it's obviously very exciting. And I'm excited to experience what they experienced at Iowa.
LH wants to know, do you have a favorite Iowa tight end?
That's a good question. I love all of them, but if I had to pick one, it's probably George Kittle, just because of how they're all versatile as heck, but the way George Kittle can take on blocks is just unmatched, I think, and he can still run fast and run good routes. So George Kittle is a guy that I really like to study.
I see several comments in the chat, people who are just happy that you're a part of this roster and a part of this class. I asked this question earlier, I believe it was Therese Vandersee, but is there somebody in this class that you perceived, Michael, to kind of take the leadership role, or almost like the spokesman of the class? There's not the prototypical 5-star kid, Caden Proctor, Xavier Wampa, but I think just so much balance, not just with the tight end room and what this class looks like, but throughout every position, basically. Is there anybody that's stepped up into that role yet?
Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to meet a lot of them in person because I didn't go on the same visit. I've gotten to know James Reesar, however you pronounce the quarterback from Florida. Watch this film. I mean, he's spectacular. I'm really excited to work with him. Other than that, I haven't seen much just because I haven't been able to get to know a ton of them in person. But, me being who I am, I think I can be ready to take on that role. I'm ready to come in and lead whoever, and just excited to do that. And I know that there's other guys in this class that are able to take on that role, but I can certainly take on that role.
We've kind of gotten to know you a little bit here over the last few minutes, but for people that don't know you from a person-to-person standpoint, what kind of a leader are you? And would you consider yourself to be more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Good question. The way I lead, the way I've led my high school team is just by always kind of being the first one to the line, hustling up, never having to be coached on effort or for effort, but only, getting coached on whatever I need to do to get better. But I don't think the coaches need to worry about my effort or my attitude at all. And so I believe that, attitudes are contagious. And that's a way that I see myself leading a team or a group or whatever in life. Attitudes are contagious. That's kind of my motto. Introvert, extrovert. What do you mean by introvert, extrovert? Like on the field, off the field, socially, or like?
Yeah, is it different? Do you take on a different personality off the field as you do on? Are you like George Kittle? Are you a WWE wrestler on the field and I don't know what he is off the field, but
Yeah, I don't even. That's a really good question. In fact, as a couple of my teachers have actually explained, talked to me about, they see myself and I see myself as well. Is kind of having that switch on the field and off the field. Like I'd love to be a nice, welcoming, comforting, soft individual off the field, but when I get on the field, it's the switches turn and it's go time, it's crush time. So it's really fun to have that switch in my head, because off the field, I'm a football player, but I'm also just a bright person and wants to get to know people. But on the field, it's 100% different. Yeah.
Not nice, comforting, and soft. Are those the three? Those are the three qualities that you just.
Don't worry, that's off the field.
Okay, yes, you're the opposite on the field. Yeah, no question about it. But okay, so last couple things for me, and do appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
On a sure a very busy day. How often do you go to Spaghetti Works in downtown Omaha?
That's a great question. I haven't been there. You know what? I went there in the summer. It's kind of like a twice a year type of deal. It used to be back when I'm the oldest of 7 kids. And so my mom would always, every Monday, they have like free kids meal or something like that. And so we go every Monday. It's a lot less now, but I definitely like what they do because they have like a really good salad bar and their spaghetti is pretty solid. So you go there.
You get free pasta refills, Michael. You get
exactly
pasta refills.
I mean, that's where else would you get that?
I know, and it's like I want to say, as I got an eggplant parmesan, it was actually right before the Creighton game. I know this is fabulous listening for people who are watching this right now. Eggplant parmesan, you pile your plate full of whatever off the salad bar, and they got potato salad and cottage cheese and salad and all this stuff. The salad that we used to have a Spaghetti Works down in Des Moines, it's now gone. I believe the only Spaghetti Works that are left are Omaha and then maybe one west of Omaha somewhere. Maybe but I'd never been. I stumbled upon it. We were looking for a place to eat when we were in downtown, and the other place I'll give a shout out to because I mean people in Omaha are going to sponsor this show anyways. Coneflower.
I've been there.
Coneflower ice cream.
Yes, my mom loves that place a lot. I've been there.
You've only been there once.
Correct. There's another ice cream place that's right by my house. I live in this place, this neighborhood. It's called Dundee, and there's basically a strip of road of there's like the famous gas station that all the middle schoolers go to that I used to hit up all the time. Right across from that is this place. It's called E Creamery, and it's a business. It's a single. There's only one of them in Omaha, I think. It's right by my house, so it's expensive, but that's kind of my solid go-to ice cream place. But Coneflower is really good.
And people are big on Ted and Wally's, aren't they?
Yes, thank you. There you go. That's another. I do love Ted and Wally's. You can get fancy there for sure. It's really good.
I think Omaha is such a cool city because, well, first of all, having grown up here in central Iowa, everybody loves the zoo, right? Everybody loves Omaha Zoo. But yeah. I'll just say this real quickly, not to rip on the zoo. I was disappointed in the last time I went to the zoo. Everything was shut down. You had hardly any concessions open. Beside the fact, downtown Omaha is awesome. And the fact that it hosts the College World Series, you got the Big Ten baseball tournament. CHI is a beautiful arena for Creighton. It's just a great sports town. So talk about your new home. What do you think about when you've been to Iowa City? What's that going to be like as far as a transition? I'm familiar with Lincoln a lot. I think Iowa City is like a better version of Lincoln. I think it blends in with the college town well. It's definitely a college town. There's a lot of nice restaurants around. You can kind of access anything at any point. Everything's pretty close. In terms of like switching cities, I think, having been there a few times already, I really feel like this is going to be a very smooth transition. It might not be, but even if it is, like I know I'm going to end up being
pretty solid in this place. I think Iowa City is perfect because it's, for me, it's not the biggest city in the world, which is probably a good thing. But it's still a city, it's still a town, and there's still a lot of fans, a lot of hype. One thing I love about it is that, there's not really, just like Nebraska, really, there's not like a professional team that like every single person in the town is rooting for. Like, it's Iowa Hawkeyes. Like that's everyone's team. And I really like that because the culture around that kind of blends in with the people in the town. And it's like one big family because, if you live in a big city, you got, these people cheering for the NBA team, and then these people cheering for other professional teams. And it's like, oh, well, here's our college team too. But in Iowa, it's like, this is the top team. Like, this is who we're all going for. And I love that. And that's kind of what I've experienced in my childhood with a different team, but I'm on the better team now, and I like it about Iowa City.
Absolutely. And I was just going to add to that. I think what you just said is a perfect message to future recruits. And Coach Don Patterson, we have doing post-game coverage each and every week during the season, he has talked about this. He's a Texas guy, and of course, he used to recruit kids from the Lone Star State and tell them, like, hey, you're used to the Dallas Cowboys being kind of America's team down here. When you go to Iowa, the Hawkeyes are Iowa's team. And that's what we have here is college football. And it is special. And I think, no disrespect to Nebraska, there's no question Nebraska football is special, but you made the right choice coming here. And there's one final question I want to get to in the chat here, Michael. Erica wants to know who your host was when you visited.
Luke Lachey. Yeah. Know him very well. We stay close. We keep in touch. And I really hope he comes back. He's going to be, if he comes back, a great mentor, and he's going to help this team a lot. Luke was my host, and he could not have been a better host. And he was a big reason why I felt like a really good fit in Iowa.
Are you rooming with Gavin?
I don't know. I talked to Coach LeVar Woods. He's given me I don't know. I want to. Just the one thing that's like hesitating me is like, should I room with the same person in my position group that I'm going to be with every day, or should I kind of like branch out, room with like a defensive back or linebacker? But Gavin and I are very close, and I think it'd be a solid idea to room with him. I don't know yet, but he's definitely one of the options. I don't know who I'm going to room with yet.
What is your schedule like? Are you getting there in January? Are you going to be there in the summer?
I'll be there in the summer. I know Gavin's enrolling early. I go to private school, high school. I will not be able to graduate unless I go through both semesters, which is fine. I'll get better. I won't be with the team, but I'll get better throughout the spring, and I'll be ready to go in June.
And we've kind of dusted over everything. And again, thank you for your time. But the one other thing that we should probably hit on, because it may be the most important to this conversation specifically, is what do you bring skill set that's unique as a tight end? I mean, we got you listed at 6'6". Let's see, where do we have you at right now? What are you weight wise?
I'm 220. I think a lot of websites have me as 230. I'm not quite that big. I'm a solid 220. Definitely versatile. I can run. I've gotten faster this past year. That's kind of been my main focus. I can block. I think a good solid description of what you can count on me as a tight end, and I think it fits well with Iowa, is my versatility. I'm very confident in doing kind of both things. I don't see myself right now being specialized in a certain attribute, if it's blocking or receiving. I think, with my size, I think I'm at a solid size right now to kind of slowly go or fast. They're probably going to get me. I don't know. I know Iowa can get you big fast, but from what I've experienced throughout my entire high school career is my ability to do kind of everything, kind of a little bit of everything or a lot of everything. I like being versatile. I like being reliable in a lot of different aspects of the game, and that's kind of that's what I see myself doing in the next few years at Iowa, is my versatility, and I think I can be counted on making a big block, making a great route, and get good catch for a touchdown. All those things get me excited. A big block gets me very excited. A big catch gets me very excited. So I want to be versatile, and I see myself doing that. And I know the coaches will develop my versatility even more. So it'll be good.
Last question from me, Michael. What's your family been like through this process? What have they meant to you as it relates to your football career and the start of your adulthood?
They've just been tremendous. They've encouraged my decision into what I believe is the best fit for me. They are big Husker fans, but you know what? They did not let that get to their, influence in telling me where I should go. They never really told me where I should go. They see from a mile away that Iowa is the best fit for me, but they left that up to me. They encouraged, yet they observed. And once I made that decision, they were so supportive, and today they're extremely supportive and very happy. And they meant so much throughout this process. I was kind of the top runner in my decision, but to have their support meant a lot, and it feels really good to have that from my family.
Kurt in the chat says, I've been a Hawkeye fan living in Omaha and Ashland, Nebraska, the last 36 years. He says you got a good head on your shoulders, and I echo that. It's been great getting to know you a little bit here, Michael, and we look forward to you being a part of the Black and Gold here. We'll probably chat with you before, but if not, we'll talk to you media day. You got a good attitude. Keep that up, and you're going to do great things at a great place.
Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it. I will definitely I watch your show all the time, so I'm excited to keep watching you, and we'll stay in touch.
Appreciate that, Michael. Thank you, sir. Congrats.
Thank you.
That was a fun interview to do, and especially with a young man who's got an opportunity to be the next piece of the tight end U puzzle that is the Iowa football program. Congratulations to Michael Burt. We'll look forward to seeing him in Black and Gold here in 2024. And certainly we'll keep tabs on the entire class. We'll have more athletes coming on the show in future weeks, future months. Keep it locked right here. From the Hawkeye of the Storm, folks, big news is coming. We're getting closer and closer to an offensive coordinator announcement. And you can rest assured we're going to have live coverage when that announcement comes down, a live call-in show right here. Be sure you're subscribed. Keep notifications turned on. We'll talk to you soon.